we're talking about Cornel West responding to the smears about taxes and child support. Also, with this guy Harry, I guess his name is Sisson or Sassoon, maybe is what he's doing. And this is the tweet I was looking for from Bree. And this is not the start of their exchange because she wasn't even talking to him. And then he came in. Obviously, he has been sent in to say, hey, there's been a lot of an unusual amount of radicalism going on. These people named RBN and Jimmy Dore, they're really ruffling up the feathers on the far left that we need. People like Briahna Joy Gray, we need you to go in and attack and bring in your bots. So this is what he says here. This is his response to this. Oh, so I was in the right place. So look at this. George Takei. Now, we were talking about this yesterday, Nick, where we already broke this down, so we don't need to break down George's tweet, where he calls out Cornel West, and he brings up, the same talking point. 2021, Ralph Nader and Jill Stein in 2016. Briahna says this, and her tweet kind of goes viral. It blows up. If your goal is breaking the corporate duopoly, then voting for Dr. Cornel West is the most strategic choice. And we covered this tweet too, but this set off Harry, Nick, and this set him off to go after Cornel West. And he says here, how much does Cornel West owe in unpaid child support? And I was surprised, Nick, because I thought a lot of people is falling for the smear of child support and taxes on Cornel West. But come to find out, they're not. Because this guy gets ravaged in this shit. Like, people are going after him in this tweet, basically saying that this is a racist trope. Now, I don't know if I would classify it that way necessarily, but I get where they're coming from. This is a black guy, unpaid child support. In this instance, it's supposed to be, oh, there goes another black male not paying child support. And this is a new statistic I learned, Nick. 50 to 52% of black males are single and childless. So when you're talking about factual statistics, it doesn't match up. But when you're talking about the racist trope, that's what this guy Harry is trying to do here. And who is this going to work for? Is it going to work for the worker? Do you think there are any workers that are dads who owe some back child support because capitalism is suppressing their wages where they can't afford the money that they need to pay? Do you think a couple of people fall into that category? Or what about medical debt? Do you think people fall in the category of medical debt or any debt, college debt? So going after him in this way, it feels like elitist to me. It feels like you don't understand what daily Americans are going through with different types and a variety of debt. Did you get a chance to see this exchange yet, or is this your first time seeing this?
This is the first time I've seen this, but I've seen the attack, which is extremely desperate from the establishment. For one, you had Hunter Biden, who owed a ton of money in unpaid child support, and you also had Biden that owed a ton of money on taxes. So these are things that the working class struggles with. And I want you to go to that tweet as well, because Sabby has a great response where she explains this. Well, she said, yeah, go. I want you to go to the tweet because she explains this as well. But the professional, managerial, white suburban mom, capitalist libs, they are class loyal. And there's Sabby's tweet, and we're going to read that to her soon. So they see this as a character flaw. They see this as something to be extremely embarrassed by. Meanwhile, everyday ordinary people are like, oh, yeah, he's one of us. This is actually not the own you think it is. So let me read Sabby, because Sabby knows more about this than I do. Owing and paying are two different things. Just because you have a balance doesn't mean you haven't been paying towards it. See, you see the disconnect here?
Right.
They're trying to frame it as Dr. Cornel West is not paying anything, right? Dr. West has already addressed this. If it were Biden, you would be defending him. And they was, because Hunter Biden was playing the same position. In fact, Joe Biden has a granddaughter who's 4 years old, and Biden made a statement about her for the first time just a few weeks ago. And that's because he did damage control, because a lot of people caught wind of this, and a lot of Republicans and obviously a lot of anti-Biden people started attacking him. Like, Biden, you say you're supposed to be a decent guy, but you ignoring your 4-year-old granddaughter because she's a political embarrassment because Hunter Biden apparently hooked up with and had a child out of wedlock, and that's embarrassing for Joe Biden, so he disowned her. So he was forced to make a statement. You know what I mean? Addressing and acknowledging her. But they want us to be, oh my God, look at this black man, Dr. Cornel West. So what Sabby said is 100% accurate. 100% accurate. By the way, Sabby is going to have Dr. Cornel West on tonight.
Oh, yeah, tonight, yes.
Dr. Cornel West is scheduled to come on next Tuesday on RBN. He definitely won't miss this one. We had to reschedule a few times, but we are solidly locked in for next week.
I'll say this. Yeah, I'll say this, Nick, because Rome and I have kids out of the RBN members. I think it's just Rome and I who have kids. So I can actually speak on this. I can actually speak on this from my own experience. So I have 4 kids, 2 with my wife and 2 before my wife. So my oldest 2, I had a child support thing, and there was times where I got back on child support. I think she was like 8 years old. My oldest daughter, whose name is Italy, she was like 8 years old. I had lost my job. Still was working, was trying to go to school, was still working, picked up another job, didn't even have a car. I was waking up at 5 a.m. to take the bus to be somewhere at 8 o'clock to a job, trying to catch up. So am I to be blamed for that? Is that me being a deadbeat, or is that me trying my best to keep up with this terrible capitalist system? And let me tell you something else about the child support system. They don't even keep good records. I was paying my child support. My child support got reduced by over $100. You know, they never changed it in the system. They kept billing me the same amount after it was changed for 4 years straight. And I just said, it's for my daughter. Man, I ain't even going to go back down there and do nothing. It got reduced. And after my daughter was of age, I didn't even have to owe no more. You know, it still showed me for years still having money that I owed. And I didn't owe any money. So, I mean, it's different levels, but you see where the attack on Cornel West is coming from the elite. And that's what the people who are that's going to fall for the elite. But that's not what his campaign is about, Nick. This is people power, poor, working class, people who are in debt themselves. So saying, hey, the candidate you support has debt too, they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm glad I'm voting for him. That he makes him more relatable. And people who are elite don't even understand. Saying somebody has debt just makes them more relatable. Go ahead.
I'll be real quick, but this shows how ridiculous it is for the people. And now I'm talking about the fake DSA socialists who don't believe in organizing along class line. You know what I'm talking about? The DSA socialists, they do not believe in organizing on class lines. So what they believe is that they have a better chance with organizing with liberals. So they see Harry Sisson, this white suburban kid who is a classist, who's engaging in racist tropes and classist attacks on the candidate, who's 100% class loyal, and they think that we have more in common with this guy than one of my neighbors who want healthcare, who may have some socially conservative views. I believe that's absurd, guys. That's absolutely absurd. And when we say organize along class line, we mean it. And then you have people who fall for CIA social democrat talking points when they say, "Oh, what do you mean organize on class line? You talking about organizing with racists?" Okay, shitlib. Let me explain to you something, shitlib. What racist is organizing for me to get health care, CJ?
It's so ridiculous.
Apparently some racist motherfucker hate black people so much, he organized with me to get health care. How does that make sense? What racist is organizing with us to disband the police state, CJ?
It makes no sense.
So when we say organize along class lines, it inherently excludes racists because they're not trying to organize with us. But you got CIA leftists that already repeat that shit. We can't organize on class lines. Can't organize on class lines. If they're racist, they're exposing themselves by being against us, our ops, like Biden voters. Right? But anyway, I'll let you continue. That's my story.
Yeah, I'll just read the tweet just so we can be officially say what his response was. And this is because he's answered questions, but it's never been all that direct. It's been kind of just like vague. But here he specifically uses the word. I think he uses child support or children. So let's read it. And this is Cornel, and he just posted this actually yesterday. And this is one of the stories we didn't get a chance to get to. This is one of 3 stories I wanted to get to. But for the past 50 years, I have been facing heavy financial responsibilities to family and friends. I have always made my priceless children a high priority, even with lavish treatment that are not in records. The wave of IRS audits, fees, liabilities, levies, and liens have always been and are now resolved based on agreements set in place years ago. And this speaks to what Sabby's saying. Having a balance doesn't mean you're not paying it. And that's what he's speaking to here. He goes on to say, I do believe that we all should pay our fair share of taxes. I'm going to break this down because I have something to say about that. Especially the top 1%, like the 63% of my hardworking fellow citizens. I live paycheck to paycheck with dignity and determination. So there's a lot in here I do want to break down. And I sent you guys this text when I first saw this. All the RBN members, I just sent you my reflection on it. And what he's taught, what do you mean you're living paycheck to paycheck? Maybe it's unique to Black culture or Black upper class culture. But this is very common. Somebody in your family blows up. That means they're lifting multiple people in that extended family out of poverty. So you see this a lot in sports. If you think LeBron is just paying for his extended family, LeBron is paying for all types of cousins, all types of aunts, rents, car notes. This is what happens in the black subculture. When people blow up, this is how AI went broke. This is how MC Hammer went broke. They're taking care of so many other people who are in poverty, friends and family. So this is how you could be making a lot of money and still be living paycheck to paycheck. This is actually like how most athletes who are paid millions go broke. They go broke because they were taking care of family members. That is the reason. So to me, this sounds very relatable and likely. And the other part here, and then I'll pass to you for any comments, and we can move on. And that's this part, fair share of taxes. Because that's the critique. And I think it was I forget the guy's name, something Abrams. He does a show. He did something. He was like, we got this socialist who wants everybody to pay their fair taxes except for him. So let's get something clear. Capitalist companies and corporations and owners of businesses who are exploiting workers and not paying any taxes like Amazon is in no way like regular working class people who owe back taxes. Okay? Stop letting the ruling class frame what's happening. So even if what he's saying is what they're saying is true about Cornel West owing some taxes is not the same thing as Amazon. And it's not, they're trying to make it like it's the same, and it's not. That's my final words on this particular part, Nick. Any comment on what he has to say here?
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. You have these giant corporations and these people who benefit from our society to steal our labor value, and they don't pay taxes, and there's not this moral judgment put on them. But now liberals want to cancel Dr. Cornel West for paying taxes, and I believe that paying taxes is something that could be a patriotic feeling, but I have a more radical approach than a lot of social democrats, because I honestly wouldn't even say what Dr. Cornel West said. I think what Dr. Cornel West said is smart, right? But when we live in a warmongering, criminal police state, I don't really think we obligated to pay taxes to a state that's fraudulent. Now that's a conversation for another day because I am more of the mind of seizing the means of production. You know what I mean? So the system as it is, it's almost patriotic to get away with not paying taxes because our system is conflicted with mass harm.
Right.
Now, these social democrats, and this is where
that's so true. That's so true. So true.
You see Marianne Williamson and Bernie Sanders and Democrat socialists, they get tied up on this all the time. I don't know if you remember this, but we covered this a while ago, where Marianne Williamson was on Fox and they were like, "How much will you tax the top 1%? Give me the exact number." Marianne was like, and they always get stumped on this when they like, "What's the exact number? How was the exact number you tax them?" And they get stumped on that question. We'll never get stumped because our answer is that very simple. You pay back the labor value that you stolen. You pay back what is owed based on what the value that society is giving you, the protection, the benefits that you're getting. Right? So what you took from the working, we are taking back. We are seizing control of that. That's how we answer those questions. Meanwhile, Democrat socialists like, I don't know, 15%, is that good? 20%, that what Marianne was doing. Is that good? I don't know. Cori Bush was famously stumped by that question when she ran for office. I don't know, 20%. So you guys see how the framing is different between the Democrat socialists and the Marxists? Because our answer is the rich owes us. They owe us their labor value. So if you ask me how much I want to tax them, how much labor value do they steal? Profit is theft. So you want to have that conversation? I can span the conversation. What do you mean by taxation? Because I'm trying to save the workers from taxes, public and private. When you understand our point of view, we are hammered by private taxes, consistent private taxes called health insurance, all this other bullshit, right? And we want to eliminate that for the working class. And if you are the ruling class, the bourgeoisie, and you benefit from this society, you owe something of that back. And we're going to make that 100% clear. But CJ, past you, I know we got a few more things to cover.
Yeah, just a couple of more receipts to kind of go over. We're kind of moving away from specifically only Cornel West and talking about Bree now because, since the last few months, we've had our little spats about over Marianne Williamson over Bree, but seriously, it's not anything personal, not at least not for me, and I don't think for you either. So
I think I don't like on most things. We agree on most things.
Exactly. So this is something where we wholeheartedly agree. This is one of the many things we do agree, and we don't, I don't like people going after her for stuff like this. So we're going to call it out. And so she says, knowing the DSC is paying nothing. Xennial, what is that? Millennials. I think that's short for millennials, right? Or Xennials? Yeah. I don't know, but you see what it is. To act like Dr. West has bigger tax problems than the Biden family is just one reason I look forward to voting green. And why I love this response is that this is the response all vote shaming should get. It's like, oh, really? I'm voting for him harder. I'm getting 5 more people to vote for him. You get what I'm saying? It's not to back down. Okay, so let me go back just for JB's sake quickly. How much does Cornel West owe is what he says to this tweet, where she's just talking about how she's gonna support, Dr. Cornel West because of George Sakai. And then Harry says this, so she chimes in and says, knowing the DNC is paying nothing Zennials, is that how you say that, JB? To act like Dr. West has bigger tax problems than the Biden family is just one reason I look forward to voting green next year. And I was just saying how these are the replies we need to, these are the type of replies we need to have with these people trying to come after third-party voters. But just like, I think it was Sabby. Did I get this receipt from Sabby? I think it was Sabby, yeah. Oh, no, it was from our own account. And we'll get to that to see who he's being paid for. But I just wanted to show you a couple of other things this guy is saying. And this video is cringe, so I do want to show you a couple of videos. And we may only be with this segment maybe another 10 minutes, not even that. So let's listen to this video. It's very cringe, so trigger warning here.
See, here's the crazy thing about the Republican Party. They think that women who get abortions and the doctors who provide that care should be sent to prison, but Donald Trump should be walking free. Does that make sense to anybody? I mean, let's just compare the two for a second here. Donald Trump is facing 91 felony charges, over 700 years in prison. He's being accused of falsifying business records, stealing classified documents, entering into a criminal conspiracy.
Let me tell you something. There's no 17, 18, and 19-year-olds talking about no damn classified documents, sir.
No.
So to your point, Nick, earlier, this guy really is to make somebody like my mom who watches NBC. Okay, the young people are doing it too. They're on our team. That's who he's really to have older generation look down and say, okay, there is some youth that's on our team, that's in the middle road, that's for Joe Biden. Because people his age, I mean, I can't imagine, Nick and JB, that 16 and 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds are passionate in the way that he's speaking about Joe Biden or even politics. I know I wasn't like he was, but go ahead.
I'll say this. They are passionate, but not in this way, not about this particular subject. What they're passionate about is, will I be able to go to college and be able to afford the amount of money that they're, shafting me for, and as far as college debt? Will I be able to afford a livable wage and when I start working or while I'm working now, right? They're thinking about the climate and will I even have a future so that I can reach middle age? That's what they're thinking about. They're not necessarily going after this. Now, they may be thinking about abortion and things like that, but it's not just the Republicans that are actually in the way of abortion. It's also Democrats who are they falsely vying for. Because let's be ask these two boys, young men, about Henry Cuellar, about how the Democratic Party is standing behind Henry Cuellar, even though he's anti-abortion. You see, here's the thing. They are talking about, oh my God, the Republicans this, Republicans that, while they're correct in what the Republicans are doing. They're also not talking about what the Democrats are doing in regards to standing in the way of women and people's right to choose for their own bodies. So if you're going to talk about it, stop it with the talking about only one side and not about the other. They're playing the red-blue game, and that's what they're doing. And they're trying to get Gen Z to participate in it. But the beautiful part about Gen Z is that they see past the bullshit. See what we as Gen X and millennials have done? Look, I want you, CJ, Nick, clap it up for yourselves because we actually taught the kids to see through the bullshit. And then they are desperate. They're desperate to get this out, and they're looking like fools in the process.
Yeah. Now, I'm not playing full videos. I'm just getting snippets just so you guys get the idea because I'm leading up to something here.
They can't.
No, they can't.
They can't.
And the thing is that I don't think the Republicans understand is that like Gen Z and young people are not just going to forget about MAGA and Trump. Like one day Trump is not going to be in the party anymore. One day he'll be gone. But do they think that young people are just going to be like, oh, like what was January 6th? Oh, wait, Trump tried to overturn the election. I don't remember. No, we're not going to forget this stuff.
They can't. They can't.
No.
Young people are talking about January 6th. That's new. I didn't know that young people are all jazzed about January 6th. I mean, have you seen the video or the claim that they make that they're not paid by the Democratic Party? They actually make this claim, and I know they made it in a video. I think it was the Tim Dillon show that I watched. They make the claim that it's silly, guys. We don't get paid. We don't get paid by the DNC. Now here's Ryan Knight's tweet. Now a couple of people tweeted this out, not just Ryan Knight, and it says, "You are paid by the DNC to tweet and attack actual leftists. You are white liberals. You are the white liberals MLK and Malcolm X warned us about, and that's absolutely true." And what they're showing here, so these are the two guys you just saw in the video. You see their Twitter things, and you see their emails there. But then he has receipts. Let's show this receipt here. I'm not going to show all of them because they're kind of actually shit. This is kind of small. I thought I could zoom in. They're kind of small, but these receipts, I don't know if you two can see them. I can't see them, but they show they show the payments. What I'll do is I'll put a link in the description box so that if you want to go look at the actual numbers, I just don't have the eyesight. I don't even think you guys can see that. It's very, very small. But I'm showing you to show you this, and this is where he goes after Bree. And this is where he says, because let me read it and then I'll comment. People like Bree are the worst of the left. They think voting green does anything positive. Trump, a proven sexual abuser and 4-time indicted fraud, will likely be on the ballot, and you decide to act all high and mighty? Give me a break. Just put your red hat on already. And that's what he says. That's what he says about Bree. Let me get your guys' comment and then I'll comment. But Nick or JB, I don't know if you've seen this tweet before, but what do you think about what he's saying? Like, because I take that as us. We are the worst of the left because we do see positive in voting for the Green Party. We do see positive in building outside. So Harry and these rich, frankly, privileged white people, white kids that are spewing this stuff about voting and building outside of the duopoly and describing it this way, and then to bring up that Trump is a sexual abuser, that's very rich, knowing Joe Biden's history. But Nick or CJ, or Nick or JB, if you wanted to chime in here.
JB, go ahead.
I know this twink ain't talking. So look, here's the thing. He's always going one side, but never showing the shit from the other side, right? This is how you know he's caping for Democrats. Because please go back up to his response. Please just scroll back up.
Yes.
Okay. He said, people like Briahna are the worst of the left. They're voting green. That's nothing positive. Trump, a proven sexual abuser and 4-time indicted fraud. Let's take Trump and replace that with Biden.
Yeah.
A proven sexual abuser, right? And what's going on between him and his son. Look, here's the thing. I'm not going to deny these things about Trump. Allegedly, it's true, right? Okay. But it's also the same truth about Biden.
Right.
So by us going against both, it shows our integrity in saying, okay, yeah, we're going to apply the same metrics that we do to Trump to Biden. And we're going to go, you know what? No, neither one of them, right? And so what Harry is doing is saying, well, you guys have to go with one sexual abuser over the other. What? Are you kidding me right now? He's like, well, my sexual abuser is better than your sexual abuser. Make that make sense, Harry. Come on, bro. I'm sorry, but you need to grow up a little bit more because, hell, my nephew, who's probably the same age as you, can probably figure that out way better than you can. Like, one is not better than the other. Two wrongs don't make a right. So guess what? Why would I try to vote for one and not the other? I'm gonna say F you to both of them. I'm gonna go the other direction. So you're mad at Briahna Joy Gray for going to the guy who didn't sexually abuse anybody? Does that make sense? Because here's my thing. If you're doing that, how are you an ally to women? You're talking about women's right to choose, but yet you go with Joe Biden, who, let's look, has done what he did to Tara Reid. Have you ever even reached out to her to talk about her experience? Or do you even care? Because apparently you care about what Donald Trump did, but you don't care about what Joe Biden did. That tells me that it's really about partisanship for you. It's not actually about helping women. If you really want to help women, then you reject both of them, but you don't care because it sounds like it's all about the money. Harold, golly, it's like pick up some integrity while you're out there, please. It's crazy, man. Please go ahead.
Any final thoughts, Nick, before we close this segment, sir?
I just have a video that I want to play to close.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was saying this to the end just so you guys exactly who this guy is. We did segments before exposing how these people are paid, right? And they are the people who are charged with being on the offensive. So I actually saw this maybe 2 days ago, and as soon as I saw this tweet, I was like, I know who this fucking guy is. He posted this absolute fucking cringe video and got ratioed to oblivion because he posted this quote unquote debate between him and this Trump supporter, which you will see is actual bullshit grandstanding because he has DNC ops paid in the background to cheer for him. So it's a very underhanded debate tactic that they're using. And so he posted this thing, he's slaying it, and he gets fucking roasted by the entirety of Twitter. And that's how I saw this a few days ago. And as soon as you start covering this, I didn't see none of the beginning. I immediately recognize this fucking scumbag. Look at this. Look at this unbelievable cringe. And he is so confident. I could easily swap aside all these points, but look at how he presents this, and look at the underhanded tactics that he used. Let me read it. It said debating a Trump supporter after Trump's first arrest outside of the courthouse in New York City on Hillary Clinton, FBI, and more. Now check out the argument that this guy fucking uses.
So whatever the FBI does is good with you.
Wait, the Department of Justice controls.
Yeah, whatever the FBI says is good to this guy. Listen.
By Donald Trump, even determined that Hillary Clinton didn't break the law.
I like the guy with the Trump hat better.
Speak to me, bro.
He's better
He's silent. He can't say anything. He's got nothing.
Wait, how does that not matter? You're saying that Hillary Clinton broke the law under Donald Trump's Department of Justice.
Comey said we couldn't find someone who would prosecute.
No, Comey said she didn't break the law. Under the Espionage Act, Section F.
So what Gen Z kids are out here fiercely defending Hillary Clinton? But let it finish.
She did not violate it. He said that when he was testifying in Congress.
Look at this cringe ass shit.
Comey is a fraud.
Yo, can I make an observation really quick?
So
you guys see people asking, why are you guys so proud of yourself? You just bullshit.
Yo,
go ahead, JB, I'll let finish after you. Go ahead.
You guys know that kind of like that GIF where that guy is rapping around a bunch of black dudes and he says something silly and the guys are like, oh,
yeah.
They're imitating black culture right there in order to make it seem like it's a win.
And
isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yo,
it's crazy, man. Look at this. I'm gonna go back so you guys see that cringe ass shit again. And they put this, and remember, he posted this as a win, and then he proceeded to get absolutely roasted on Twitter after this.
Comey is a fraud.
He's giving high fives.
Bro, look at the dynamic here, guys. There are older white gentlemen that they are debating that is telling young people that the government is corrupt. This is fucking crazy town. What world is this, CJ? It's supposed to be the exact opposite. It's supposed to be an old fuck yelling at the kids to trust the government. You got old people telling young people, Gen Z Democrats, that the government is corrupt and they won't buy it. And now look at his argument. His argument, I'm gonna let it finish here, relies on the message of authority. Look to his appeal to authority here.
You don't. Because I know what I'm talking about.
You don't see the unfairness in our
Tell me where I asked you, where is
he said this old guy says you don't see the unfairness with our system, and the young kid says where? What unfairness in this system? You can't make this up. The old guy is convincing the young radical that this system is unfair. This is unbelievable. Actually, sorry, I keep interrupting. I apologize, guys. But I'll play that part again because that part is gold. I'll let it finish all the way through. I promise this time.
You're so proud of yourself.
Because I know what I'm talking about. You don't. Because I know what I'm talking about.
You don't see the unfairness in our
Tell me where I asked you, where is it?
He's deleting 33,000 subpoenaed emails.
They had the emails, and Comey himself, the guy under the investigation, the guy who did the investigation, determined that she did not break the law.
We have an
Bro, he dismantles his kid, and then his argument at the end is the very powerful rich white man said something. This is my gospel. So then the old guy says, he like, hey, young guy, you know the government lies. He's like, no, they don't, old man. No, old man, don't you know the government always tells us the truth? This is crazy town.
Yeah.
But sorry, I want to share
unbelievable.
I acknowledge I didn't get a chance to ever cover that. I'm glad I did now. Because as soon as you cover that, I'm like, I know exactly what this dude is. They all are fucking clowns. And we can write this segment because we got a few more things to cover. But if you look, I'll show you guys the ratio. It's 5,000, 5,000. He was after that video where he claims he crushed this guy. He gets dismantled by every other sane motherfucker in the room. Everyone who's not a Gen Z for Change Democrat saw that video and was reposted. That this fucking suck up, sellout, fucking weasel is defending the FBI and the government. And the old man is confused. Like, that's the fucking kid's radical. What the hell? I'm usually arguing on the right against what the fuck is going on here? And that's the reality we live in. We live in a reality where Republicans defend the Democrats defend the FBI and CIA. They believe the establishment while conservatives, well, at least a section of conservatives, are questioning authority. JB, go ahead, chime in.
Oh, of course, because here's the thing. If Trump were the one who was in office right now, that kid would have been saying what the old man was saying, and the old man would have been saying what that kid was saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And the thing is that the difference between those two actually that were arguing with each other and me, Nick, and CJ in front of you right now, we say no matter who it is, the government is corrupt no matter what. And so if roles were reversed as far as who was at the administration was going, as far as we're concerned, the old man probably would have been saying the exact same thing the young kid was saying. Because the thing is that ultimately it's about, oh, my party's better than yours. When in reality, we say, yeah, neither one of them are.
And to me, that gives us more credibility. And this is why they go after people like us. They go after people like Jimmy Dore. Because if you come in, just think about it. We can go into any room of red and blue, and we're going to have more credibility from both sides because we're coming in saying both of you are terrible. That gives us credibility on both sides, because Republicans, if we're saying Joe Biden is a fraud and terrible and all this, and then to Democrats, if we're saying Trump is actually pro-war, he's not actually. You get what I'm saying? It lends credibility to our argument, and that's why I believe like our path, the people that are in our sort of community and our sort of left space, we are the future.